Hi, everyone. Angela Alston with Angela Alston Astrology. This week, we're looking at the creative potential between September 10th and September 16th. So let's get into it. Actually, let me share from the beginning here. All right, before we start talking about what's going on this week, I want to put the call out there. Contact me with your relationship question for my upcoming podcast. In the subject, put podcast, so I know that this question is for the podcast and not just a regular horary question. Horary questions do not need your time of birth or your partner's time of birth. Relationship questions can be romantic, they can be business, they can be family. There's all sorts of different relationships, and I'm not limiting it to any specific types. But I would love to get your question, and if it is one that would be great for a horary reading, I will offer you the reading for free and record our session. So that would be AngelaAlstonAstrology@gmail.com. Thank you so much. Okay, so this week, what do we have? We have the sun still in Virgo, traveling from 17 degrees 19 minutes to 24 degrees 8 minutes. The moon in Cancer, starting the week in Cancer, 25 degrees 14 minutes. Ending the week 18 degrees 45 Libra. And the big news with the moon this week is the new moon on September 14th. We have Mercury in Virgo, beginning the week retrograde at 10 degrees 13 Virgo, ending the week direct at 8 degrees 10 minutes Virgo. And it stations direct on September 14th. Venus is in Leo, traveling direct, finally, from 12 degrees 56, starting the week still on that 12-degree note, but finally moving past it, ending at 15 degrees 19 minutes Leo. Mars is in Libra, traveling direct, 8 degrees 52 minutes to 13 degrees 26 minutes. Jupiter is in Taurus, retrograde, retraveling 15 degrees 31 minutes to 15 degrees 18 minutes. And Saturn, still retrograde, in Pisces, retraveling the 2 degrees 47 minutes to 2 degrees 18 minutes. So that's what we have. And the things I want to talk to you today about is the new moon in Virgo, Mercury stationing direct, Mars sextile Venus, and Jupiter's trine to the sun. So we start the week with a balsamic moon. It goes to the new moon on September 14th, 6:39 p.m. That's Pacific time. So this new moon is in Virgo at 21 degrees 58 minutes. So almost 22 degrees, but not quite. With the new moon in Virgo, with so many of the outer planets, as we talked about last week, retrograde, and Mercury stationing direct this week on the same day, this new moon, as much as any new moon possibly could, really invites inner reflection. It is the last new moon of the summer, and the next new moon is the solar eclipse moon, a very, very powerful, October 14th, 2023. So a month from this new moon, we'll talk more about that. But this new moon falls at the 21-22 degree range for the Virgo Sabian symbol of a royal coat of arms. And I look to James Burgess for some insight here. And he suggests that this Sabian symbol is about taking the highest road available to us. Certainly not the low road, not even the middle ground, but acting with the highest degree of intentionality, integrity, and making adjustments so that we are setting the very best examples that we can. People often think of setting examples for others, whether it be your peers or your children or people at work or your students, what have you. And the thing that gets forgotten, I've noticed, is that the most important audience that you are setting an example for is your own soul. Your soul comes in to this life to teach you some things, but also to learn from you. And so when you're setting an example, your soul is watching. Your soul is watching everything you do. It can be your conscience, it can be that Jiminy Cricket, it can be that mirror. But your soul learns from the choices and actions that you take. And so in Virgo, new moon in Virgo, this is a great time to think about what refinements can be made around your work life, health, fitness, certainly diet, and making sure that your words are in integrity with your heart, that you're speaking from a place of honesty, at least to yourself. And continuing that theme, Mercury stations direct September 14th, 1:21 p.m. PST, Pacific time. And it's in the 8 to 9 degree range of Virgo, 8 degrees, 4 minutes. And the Sabian symbol for this degree of Virgo is a man making a futurist drawing. And for this, I look to Blaine Bovee. And of course, we would read this now as a person making a futurist drawing. And this is about stepping ahead, out of the moment, looking forward, planning for a brighter future, leadership with vision. And also, and I found this so interesting, the loneliness of visionaries. Those people who can see that much farther and that much clearer into the future. And perhaps whether it's society or your children or your partner, they're not there yet. They're not seeing with that clarity of vision. They don't have tomorrow in their scope in the same way. And when you are that person, it can be very lonely. And that's okay. So Mercury is stationing direct. Another thing about this is that I've heard from folks that this Mercury retrograde has not been that difficult for them. That could be in part because Mercury is very strong in Virgo. It has been picking up some positive vibes from Jupiter. But it could also be that there is so much that is in retrograde and has been, that it can be hard to kind of parse exactly what has been Mercury and what hasn't been. That said, I hope that's been your experience as well. If not, that can all be behind us because Mercury is stationing direct and moving along its merry way. Now, the next thing is Mars is applying in sextile to Venus. Mars in Libra is applying sextile to Venus in Leo. Now, the sextile, like the trine, the positive, quote unquote, aspects, they don't promise anything, but they allow for the possibility. They open up a channel. And the sextile in particular is a channel of facilitation. Libra and Leo energy is playful, romantic, dynamic. You have the air and fire, which tend to work well together as qualities. And Mars and Venus is the archetypical lovers, right? The masculine and the feminine principles at play within us as well as in the external world. So this is a time where we can kind of get some of the parts of ourselves in some sort of communication, perhaps a rebalancing. This should be very enjoyable, or it could be. It has potential to be in a lot of areas. But I want to make a very important point for horary astrologers, my horary peeps out there. This sextile never perfects. And so if you're looking at something where the perfection matters, and in horary, the perfection does matter, this aspect is not perfect. And let's look at that a little closer. So we enter the 3-degree orb, the real orb of influence, where the channels really open. Things should be flowing smoothly between Venus here in Leo, Mars here in Libra. Now, this is not the September 12th. This is what you're seeing here, September 26th. This is as close as it gets, okay? We have Venus at 20 degrees, 55 minutes, and Mars at 20 degrees. Now you see 55 and 0. It's almost a full degree ahead. And this, Mars never catches up. So this matters if you're looking at a war chart, right? If you have two people who are in competition in any way, who's going to win, it matters in horary. It may not be felt in mundane or in personal astrology. It may not be felt or matter in electional astrology. But perfection of an aspect is incredibly important in horary. So, September 26th, it gets within the same degree. So it's very close, but it never actually finishes that agreement. And now it falls out of sign on October 9th, when Venus enters Virgo. But the sextile picks up again on October 12th, when Mars enters Scorpio. And so we're beginning this sort of dance between Mars and Venus in Libra and Leo. And we're ending it, or it's transitioning to Virgo, Scorpio, which is a very different tenor, very different vibe. And it's active. The sextile is still active. And so when I say active, I mean within 3 degrees until October 16th. And so again, it's starting on September 12th. going through a little bit of shift, but more or less kind of continuing until October 16th, but with no perfection. It may not matter for a lot of areas of astrology, but I'm a horary astrologer by trade. And so that's an important thing that I wanted to point out. And now the sun in trine to Jupiter. So the sun, Virgo, perfected its trine to Jupiter in Taurus on September 8th, 4:03 a.m. Pacific time. You have two powerhouses in earth signs, and one would expect a landfall of materiality, the material, which certainly did happen, but not in a positive way. The trine perfected the same day as the earthquake in Morocco. Now, this is a mundane exemplar, mundane, dealing with astrology of world events, of the inflating power of Jupiter in Taurus, fixed Earth, going retrograde. No, retrograde. Retrograde brings about results that are eccentric, unexpected, and in this case, deadly. One of the things that always comes to mind when I think of Jupiter retrograde is another major tragedy where Jupiter retrograde was trining the sun, and that was the sinking of the Titanic. Retrograde planets do not bestow their best selves. I had a few clients asking me if they should make some big money moves, knowing that this trine was coming. And I said, absolutely not. Absolutely not. You don't know where it's going to go. And when it's something as big and inflationary as Jupiter, I exercise extreme caution. So we will be feeling the after effects of this trine, which again perfected September 8th until September 11th. And then it will be moving out of its 3-degree orb. And since Jupiter is such a big player, in the sky right now, and I talked about this last week, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time here. I just want to hit some dates. It turned retrograde in Taurus on September 6th. And it's going to be retraveling the 15-degree 34-minute to 5-degree 34-minute spectrum of Taurus. Now it stations direct on New Year's Eve. It will be out of its shadow phase on March 23rd, 2024. So for folks with planets or angles in 2 degrees to 18 degrees, Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, Aquarius, you're going to be hit by squares, conjunctions, or oppositions 3 times during this period. The best advice that I can give is to exercise caution in those areas of your life where the Jupiter in retrograde is going to be coming into play. So to recap, new moon in Virgo, the last new moon of the summer, and the new moon before the solar eclipse on October 14th invites journaling, vision boarding, refining, and really showing up with your best self, taking the high road. Mars applies in sextile to Venus. This can be delicious. It can be a lot of fun, but horary astrologers beware. The sextile never perfects. And we are dealing with the post-Jupiter Sun trine that perfected on the 8th, dealing with that through September 11th. And Venus is still square to Jupiter right now, so watch your spending. Again, contact me with your relationship question for inclusion in my upcoming podcast, AngelaAlstonAstrology@gmail.com. And please remember to like and to share. It helps my channel grow. I appreciate your time today and every week. I hope that this is a really productive and wonderful week for you. Take care.